As a grad student at a top-tier school in Boston, I had the good fortune of doing an internship for the director of eLearning at South Puget Sound Community College. In the following short film, you'll get a taste of what it's like to be an outsider who's been given access to the world of eLearning administration. Here are just some of the most significant learnings over the 6-week internship. Enjoy. Don't reinvent the wheel. Watson and Gemin say, reasons for using curriculum licensed by an outside source include the expertise of vendor development teams, including writers, instructional designers, multimedia developers, and technologists, often exceeds the expertise within the online program. From what I've witnessed at South Puget Sound Community College, they've regretted the few times they've opted to build versus buy. And when they've bought, as with the case of their LMS, their lecture capture program, and their video conferencing system, they've been happier with the performance and the value. In most cases, it seems like building is like reinventing the wheel, with some exceptions, obviously.
How much time do you spend programming to get the thing up and running in the first place versus just pulling something off the shelf? Would have saved us a lot of time and just given us a better quality product.
The "it's too impersonal" rebuttal. You know, I get really frustrated with misinformed critics of online education, especially when they tell me it's too impersonal. In my experience, I've felt a much stronger sense of community in my online classes than in many of my face-to-face classes. Online learning has as its foundation the community of inquiry model. In the community of inquiry model, a rich learning experience is achieved in the intersection of social presence, i.e. the setting and climate, teaching presence, such as in the structure and the process of the class, and cognitive presence, for example, the supporting discourse elicited through engaging content. Effectively designed online learning utilizes the community of inquiry model much more frequently than brick-and-mortar education. Michael Moore, in his 1989 article published in the American Journal of Distance Education, cites a 1988 study by Phillips, Santoro, and Kuhn in which researchers were failing to invoke group interaction among a large undergraduate face-to-face class. They had to resort to online methods of video and computer discussions before they were able to build a sense of community.
There's just super things you can do with collaborative, team-based projects online that just work much better in that mode than in a face-to-face room. I think wikis are an amazing tool that allow for a huge range of different activities. You could have students, for example, reading in groups, each group reading one article. Each group has a wiki where they summarize the content of that article as a group. They come together, they meet in their reading groups, they look at the wiki, they make sure they understand the article, and then you split them into separate groups where they seminar with others who've read other articles.
Prep time for online education is not equal to prep time for face-to-face education. Taking on the role of a virtual instructor means being a risk taker or entrepreneur because there's such a huge investment in startup, and then you're continually having to keep up with changing technology. And we previously looked at Raman's ideal virtual instructor as having a teaching emphasis rather than a research emphasis. But the virtual instructors I've met at SPSCC are not slacking on their research, so it's safe to assume that many virtual teachers are pulling double duty. And Cleveland, Innes, and Garrison say, the lack of regular face-to-face meetings makes frequent, regular feedback critical. Online instructors typically need to develop and assess many more assignments over the course of a semester than face-to-face instructors, who have the opportunity to assess and remediate student understandings informally in the classroom. Just as new instructors should be ready for the heavy time commitment in online education, so should students. The #1 culprit of failing online students at SPSCC is underestimating the time investment required to be successful, according to Dr. McKinnon.
Some students who do take online courses underestimate the amount of work or just what's entailed and are not successful. And so thinking about designing quality courses really, I think, is the right place to address that particular issue. And that's, as I said, something that's in process.
Increasing scalability through automation. In 2003, Brigham Young University did a self-evaluation of their highly automated independent study program. Their crowning jewel is the computer-generated instruction and feedback system called SpeedBack, which guarantees that students receive immediate feedback on their assignments. The authors, two of whom are BYU professors, admitted that some students who were new to computer-generated instruction felt lost. But they went on to say, despite these drawbacks, numerous reasons still exist for continuing this approach. Foremost among these is the fact that many students prefer the SpeedBack model to instructor-directed learning. Now, the red flag in this statement to me was quote-unquote many students. Other benefits to BYU's highly automated system included decreased faculty workload and higher than national average profits and growth rate. I think automation is something that all online programs should be striving for if they want to improve scalability and provide faster student feedback. And there are pieces of the BY model that we can emulate. But when automation is used mainly for the purpose of scalability and profits, students and the reputation of online learning are at risk.
I think if you look at the overall trajectory that we're on of building software platforms that really interact in intuitive ways with users, we're not there yet. It's not transparent enough where it's like a Facebook account where you just go in and you poke around and you figure out how to do things, and it's easy enough that you can do that. That's where we're going, but we're not there yet with these kinds of tools.
Summary: a call to online believers. Since I started an NU's online degree program, I've been testing the waters for full-time work in education. I also did some networking with a friend at a local community college, first asking her to critique my resume. The first thing she said was, "You shouldn't show people that you're studying online. Just say you're attending Northeastern." What's with this discrimination against online education? One thing that I've learned in my research over the past 6 weeks is that distance education has been around much longer than I realized. I was amazed to learn that it goes well back over 100 years. Now, I'm embarrassed to admit this, but I'm old enough that I've personally experienced industrial-age distance education. I'd receive a lesson in the mail with videotapes and instructions for what I was expected to study that month. I'd complete the lesson and mail it back to Washington State University, and then wait about 3 weeks to receive my grade, again by mail. So I postulate that yesterday's distance education is at the heart of today's discrimination of online learning, more so than the bad press about diploma mills or anything else. As leaders in the charge for online learning, this is something that we need to combat through testimonials from happy customers, revved up PR campaigns, and aggressive marketing. Online education is an oasis for the multitudes of knowledge seekers and facilitators. The shy student, the time-deprived working parent, the techno-savvy instructor, and the ultra-creative designer, just to name a few. The main thing I've learned over the past 6 weeks, it's that online education feeds my hunger for growth, and growth makes me happy. This is a passion that's worthy of sharing, and perhaps that's my purpose in education.
I think we're going to converge on a model where there's less of a distinction between online learning and face-to-face learning. It's just all learning. And it is the activities that we assign to online versus face-to-face really just is determined by whether or not that's the appropriate way to achieve that learning goal.